name is Anushka and I'm a third year PhD student in the UK in the field of human geography, and I'm currently in sort of the writing up final stages of my PhD, and I plan to submit at the end of January, which is about 3.5 months away. It's exactly 3.5 months away because today is October 15th, and yeah, that feels kind of crazy because, you know, I've been putting in so much work over the past almost 3 years, and a lot is there already on paper, but it also feels like so much more still needs to happen before I can actually submit it. And I've decided to start documenting these final stages because honestly I need to give myself some extra motivation and some form of accountability, because what I've noticed in the past few months is that whenever I'm feeling quite stressed, I tend to sort of, you know, I grab my phone for a little bit and I scroll on social media and then I regret it and I'm like, oh, I just wasted 2 hours on nothing really, and I don't want to do that anymore. And yeah, so I thought maybe filming the process might, you know, give me some extra motivation to write. So that's what I'm doing. And also what I've noticed is, because I quite like watching other people's PhD journeys on YouTube, and I've not seen that many people in the social sciences. So I thought maybe sharing a bit more about my research and my experiences could also appeal to people who are PhD students in the social sciences or are thinking of doing PhDs in the social sciences. Because I've seen quite a few humanities people, and I've seen some people that are doing lots of lab work, so then maybe in, like, I don't know, medical sciences or physics, but not that much social sciences. And I think there's a lot to share, and I think PhDs can be very different depending on which field you're doing it in. So I don't know, I thought maybe it could bring someone something to prospective or current PhD students. But yeah, where I'm at now is, as I was saying, there's like a lot of work that's already been done, but also still a lot that needs doing, and everything feels a bit chaotic in my brain. I had a meeting with my supervisors last week, which went really well, and essentially I just need to keep going. But with the final stages of the PhD also come other things, like you need to start thinking about, okay, what am I going to do afterwards? And you know, there's all these sort of administrative things that have to do with you know, starting the whole examination process, because you'll have external examiners, etc. So there's a lot of sort of things in my brain that I feel like, oh, I need to do something with this, but I don't know, I just don't have the overview at the minute. So I thought as a first video, I'm going to start with kind of doing a bit of a brain dump, then getting an overview of everything that's already there, everything that needs to happen in the coming months, and sort of like make a little plan, and then after that I can, you know, start working on it. So yeah, let's start by taking my notebook. I'm going to sit down for about 10 minutes and just do a little brain dump. I'm just going to write down everything that comes to mind that needs to happen, both related to my PhD, to my writing, but also these sort of admin-y tasks, and maybe some personal life stuff, because obviously my PhD is not my whole life. It feels like that sometimes, but I've got other stuff going on as well. So yeah, I'm going to start by dumping all that chaos from my brain onto this notebook. So I finished making my little overview of things that were on my mind. I ended up writing down some stuff related to the actual writing of my thesis, then sort of job applications. I'm currently working on one application. Let me know if you're interested in sort of documenting this transitional period as well, where I could talk a bit more about maybe experiences of being an international student in the UK, being on a student visa and how all that works, but also just in general finding a job in academia after graduating, because, well, I'm still figuring it all out, but maybe it could be interesting to take you along. So I wrote some stuff about that. Essentially I want to create a document where I kind of keep track on all the applications that I've been doing, or where I can sometimes also just save jobs that might be interesting. Then I wrote down some personal stuff, just some things I want to prioritise in my life, and some kind of boring stuff like I need to go to the dentist, and then I made a list of other sort of work-related stuff that is to do with my PhD, but it's not the actual writing of the big document. So that's stuff like the examination process. I need to send out some other forms. I need to write a research report to send to the Royal Geographical Society, because they funded part of my fieldwork, so then they want you to, essentially update them on how everything went. So that's all stuff that needs to happen. And now I'm going to go onto my laptop or my desktop and just translate this into a sort of document where I can sort of have all the information in one place and then just keep adding to it. I'm going to do that for a little bit, and I'll catch up with you after I finish. Okay, I've been working on this for about half an hour, and I've definitely gotten a clearer overview of what still needs to happen, where I'm at, which feels good, and I feel very motivated to just get on with things now. So essentially what I did is I created this table, which is an overview of my dissertation, and for each chapter I wrote down a few things. So just which section it is, then the status, so is it still to be written, is there an early version that needs to be rewritten, if the full first draft is ready, etc. Then there's another column that says sort of the next goal, what I need to do. So for some it means I just need to schedule in time of when I'm actually going to work on this. For others it's, for example, my third empirical chapter is the one I submitted most recently, and what I want to do is just write a little plan on how I'm going to finish that, which I'm going to do for the rest of the day. And then a column with the deadline of when I plan on finishing this chapter, and a word count goal, which I haven't really put anything in yet, but I think later on that will be quite useful just to see if the thesis is balanced. And I often tend to write too much rather than too little, so it's good for me as well to just keep myself on track with not sort of wasting time and then having to delete lots of things. And then I actually created a more detailed plan for what to do in October, and then at the end of October I'm going to make a detailed plan for November, at the end of November for December, and so on, because I felt like trying to plan what it is exactly that I'm going to do in the third week of December right now. It's slightly too far ahead, and in my experience, things always change, so there's no point in doing that. So for the rest of this month, this week and next week, I'll be working on getting as much of a draft in for my second empirical chapter. So for that chapter, I've been analysing my data in the past week, and I think, I have some ideas of what I want to be saying in that chapter, and I just need to get as much of that done before next Friday, or next Friday latest, because then I'm submitting that to my supervisors. And then I've got 1 week, the final week of October, in which I will be working on that research report that I need to send to this organisation that gave me some funding. And what else did I write down for that week? I need to send out some other forms, and I need to start the examination process. But I might actually do that today. I think today I'm just going to dedicate to actually setting in motion that process, because that's quite important, and I don't want that to be running late, because that could cause me issues later on. So yeah, that's my plan for October. And then for November, I plan on submitting a full draft of my thesis at the end of November, which feels very daunting, and looking at sort of my rough schedule, it feels impossible, but it doesn't have to be a perfect draft, because I will be submitting that, and then I'll probably have to wait a few, maybe 3 weeks, for my supervisors to give me feedback on that. And in those 3 weeks, obviously, I'll continue working on it, and then at the end of January is when I'll be submitting the full thesis. So actually, between the first full draft, and the final thesis, there's quite some time. So I made kind of like a rough outline for November and December, but these things might change, and I'll reflect on this a bit more when I get to the end of October. So yeah, I think that was it for today. Right now I'm going to crack on with setting in motion that examination process, filling in that form, and I'm going to have a little look at my feedback on the last chapter I wrote, and just to write down a little plan for that, so that when I get back to working on that, I kind of know what needs doing. So yeah, let me know if you like this video, and give me a follow, and I'll be documenting the rest of the writing process and everything that has to do with finishing my PhD. So I will see you in the next video. Bye!